You seem to still be up there somewhere.
Maybe I am. There are flying saucers.
Supposing they're Martians or something in there.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. I'm SubmitWeird, and this is
Cassie.
Cassie, how was your weekend?
Magical.
Great. That's good. Yeah, what happened? You had a show?
I did. I had a show on Saturday, and it was fantastic. I did like 500 above average for most of my show, so I'm extremely happy with this turnout.
Nice.
It was a long day, like seriously long day. It was only an hour away, but I get so overwhelmed and like stressed before a show. And this time I had like 2 booths, like my artwork, and then a booth full of Halloween decorations. And, my car was broke down and I needed 2 vehicles to take everything up there in. And I was just like panicking like crazy. But my dad came, saved the day, helped me. So all the way from Arizona came and saved the day for me. Fell asleep like, I don't even know. It was before 8 o'clock and I slept to 7:45 the next morning after that.
Nice.
But I came home and Brandon had a new to me car in the driveway.
Yes, what did you get?
I got a 2020 Blazer.
Nice. Those are nice.
It's fucking sweet. The sunroof and moonroof, it's so big. It's like the size of the whole car. It's so gorgeous. So gorgeous.
Ooh, and big, and you need big, so.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like weird stuff in it that like even my brother was like, why would they even have this? I'm like, I don't know. Like there's a button for the trunk and you could turn it off so you can't open the trunk at all. You can do max, which is like the full variety of the trunk, or you can do like 3/4 where the trunk only opens 3/4 of the way. We're like, why is that even an option? Why do you need that?
So you have to like crawl in to get your shit out?
Right.
For some privacy, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Then yesterday was my nephew's first birthday party. He's the cutest little butthead ever. I love him so much.
Exciting.
Yeah. I was there all day because my dad and my stepmom are here. So I wanted to hang out with my stepmom because she goes home Tuesday, but my dad's staying another week at my house to help me with the rental to finish painting the downstairs and stuff.
I need to borrow your dad for some things.
Right?
I'm just saying. I don't have one.
He flies here to babysit. Like, he's just awesome.
I love that.
And then, we got this wedding that our daughter's planning. So I kind of want to get all the shit done that, like, me and Brandon have on our list so we can just focus on this. Because that's coming up, like, fast. Like, November's going to be here before I know it. And, what else? Oh, today's the 25th. So I have exactly 1 month until I see Post Malone, and I am so excited.
That is very exciting. Wow.
Oh, I'm so excited.
You got a lot going on this week, this weekend.
I have a lot going on every week.
That's true.
It's the life of me, and nobody wants to be a part of it, so I'm glad I found my equal.
It's rough out there, I'll tell you. Whew.
Right? Man. How was your weekend? What did you do?
Yes, it rained all weekend, so.
That was the shitty part.
Every time I do these weekends, I'm like, hey, well, it rained.
And me and you are both in Ohio, so no matter what, we have the same weather at some point in the day.
True. That's true. Yeah. It's been ugly, but I do have some things that I partook in.
Okay.
Well, first of all, before the weekend hit, you and I did something on Thursday.
Yes, I didn't know if we were speaking of that, but yes, we did.
Of course, why not? It's not a secret.
I know.
We want people to get excited. We recorded our first horror movie review over on the Patreon. It's not out yet, but it will be.
And it was a good one.
It was good. We had a lot of fun. We discussed the movie Clown, and it's good. It's good. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So make sure you're part of our $5 tier, patreon.com/WednesdaysTalk. So that way you can check that out. It's coming out probably shortly after this one. It might be out already, depending on when you're listening to the show. So, check that out. I don't know what we're going to watch next. We'll figure it out soon.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we do? Oh, yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
remember. We talked about it. Okay. All right. Well, that one will be just as exciting, so.
Yes.
So anyway, I did that, but then I watched some other things too. There's a lot of stuff that I've been kind of lacking on watching lately, but and just because I haven't really been in the mood to get into something, you know what I mean? But everybody was talking about that Netflix documentary, The Crash. I checked that out.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was okay.
I haven't got to it yet.
It was all right. I mean, I don't know. There's
Mhm.
others that I've liked better that Netflix has done, but this is like kind of the latest. This is what everybody's talking about situation. Basically, it's about a girl who crashed her car and killed both her boyfriend and their friend. But she survived, and she is now serving 15 years to life in prison for the crash. So I won't give the whole thing away, but obviously people think that she did it on purpose because she's a crazy bitch, and that does happen. But there's some people that don't think that she did it on purpose, that it was totally unintentional, and so the wars on social media have been in full effect about her guilt. But honestly, I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of people that are like, she definitely did it on purpose.
I don't know if I would have the balls to do something like that on purpose. And like if I wanted to live, you know what I mean? Like
She hit like an industrial building at 100 miles per hour.
wow.
Yeah. And
Did she want to die?
so that's kind of where like the debates coming in at, and different people have their opinion. So what's crazy is that like she says that she doesn't remember what happened leading up to the crash.
Mhm.
And everybody thinks that they just think that's bullshit. So the question is, she could have had a medical event, which nothing was really found, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could have been that it was so traumatic that her brain just wiped it, which oddly enough is topical for today's episode. And we're kind of going to talk about that. That does happen.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, I don't know. She was 17. I think that, I'll say my verdict for those who have seen it and kind of know the case. I think that
Right.
she did not intentionally want to kill him. She was crazy. And like she would like threaten to like crash the car and do all kinds of crazy shit to him all the time. Like, but I think that she did intend to crash. And I just think that, being 17, I don't think she really understood the permanence of that decision.
Right.
Like, I think that maybe she thought, I will crash this fucking car, and then he'll be scared of me, and so scared that he will never be able to leave me, but he died. It killed him. And,
That's a
you know,
weird way to think about things. You want somebody to be scared to stay with you?
yeah, well, that's how she had acted towards them,
Right.
their whole relationship.
Oh,
So,
I'm not saying like I'm doubting that, but people are just crazy.
it is crazy because you could just leave and, go be with somebody else who's like totally obsessed with you. Like, they're out there,
Mhm.
She could have dated an ugly dude and been so in love with her. I don't know.
Right.
No, I'm just saying she's definitely psycho, and I think there was some intent there, but intent to murder. I don't think she thought that far ahead. I just think she was pissed off about who knows what. They were probably fighting, and she, like I said, maybe intended to hurt him, but not intend to kill him.
Okay.
And now she's paying for it. And so, whatever. It's like I said, it's all over the internet right now. Check it
Yeah.
out if that's your thing. But the better documentary that I watched this weekend, let me fucking tell you people, and I can't stress this enough. Go to YouTube, look up Reckless Ben, subscribe to Reckless Ben's
Oh, it's a
YouTube
Reckless
channel.
Ben thing?
A new Reckless Ben came out. Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yep. And it's insane. I mean, it always is, I don't know. When I watch a Reckless Ben video, I swear to God, like I am on the edge of my fucking seat. Like I'm so hyped.
Mhm.
Like I am audibly yelling at the screen and shit because it just, I don't know, just the way he does things is crazy. But yeah, new Reckless Ben dropped. Basically the gist of that one, and the general topic of it, like I wouldn't have watched this had it not been a Reckless Ben video, but listen, you guys gotta watch it. So this guy, his dad had the largest Lego Star Wars collection in the whole world. Okay.
Okay.
And wanted to sell it. His dad's, like 150 or something, and so it's time to sell his Lego Star Wars collection. But instead of them parting it out and selling it privately, they go to this store called Bricks and Minifigs, which is actually like a chain.
Okay.
Okay, and they do a consignment agreement where the store will sell them for him, and then they get the profits, right? Obviously the store makes some type of profit, but they get a percentage of those profits. So that's the deal. Well, the store gets sold to a different franchisee owner. And when that happened, the franchisee owner is like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And refuses to continue the deal, and also refuses to give back the Legos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which the Lego sets, the whole thing's worth like $200,000. And so, the son who's obviously made this deal, he approaches Ben, and Ben basically, he takes it on, and it gets so fucking insane. Like it gets off the rails crazy. And he put out this video. It's free on YouTube. You can go watch it. It's an hour and a half long. And it runs so deep. There's actually a part 2. And if you're not going to come to our Patreon, go fucking sub to Reckless Ben's Patreon, because let me tell you, there's some shit on there that you cannot see on YouTube. But part 2's out already on Patreon, and I watched it, and it gets fucking insane. Like how the police are basically covering up for this franchisee owner, because this is all also happening in Utah, and they're all like part of the Mormon church. Like it's insane. It's fucking deep, and they're just screwing over this family. They had a contract and everything, and the police don't care. They're not holding anybody to it. It's really nuts. So I don't know. Like I said, I was super hyped for that. It was so good. But he will put part 2 out eventually on YouTube. Ben is actually on the run. He's in Mexico right now. He's a fugitive.
Really?
Yep. There's a warrant out for his arrest.
For this one?
Yep.
Like, because of this?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
The Utah police in this little tiny city in Utah, that police department whenever Ben gets his wits about himself and comes back to the States, they're so fucked. Like,
oh yeah.
The corruption is insane. Like they literally arrest him because eventually they're trying to, they go through all these court cases and stuff to try to get the money back, but eventually they start a GoFundMe. He was literally arrested for starting a GoFundMe. Like,
are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. It's like, I don't know. It's crazy eye opening, and it's like, I don't know. It's like, remember when ICE shot that guy? What was his name? Oh my God, Alex Preety.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is a moment right here, because like obviously, like very clearly, they done fucked up. Like this is how this felt. It was like, this is so obviously fucked and wrong. Like it's just not. It's so far beyond funny, and so it's kind of
Lego itself hasn't like stepped in yet.
I am too. Well, his first part just dropped. Part 2 is not public yet.
Oh, okay.
With all the police corruption and all that. But even still, he went to like the corporate offices to try to get this resolved, and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that. and it's a big company. $200,000 for them is not. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. They should just, and that's like his whole thing. They just want the Legos back. They don't even want compensation for the suffering and everything. They just want the Legos back, and they won't just give them back. It's insane.
That's a huge collection. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, but they did get the store, that particular store shut down. They did close permanently.
Good. Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. But they want their money. The family wants they either want the Legos or they want the value of the Legos, period. And they should have that. So it's theirs.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, it's all crazy. Like I said, I can't even begin to do it justice. You guys wouldn't believe the shit that they do. And Ben, I swear to God, this dude's a genius, man. He's a fucking genius.
And for anybody that doesn't know, like, Ben is pretty much the primary source for all of our information from the McCamey Manor episode last Halloween. Yeah. And go watch all those videos. He is like literally a genius. He's awesome. That guy's amazing.
Yeah, he thinks of everything, and like the storytelling is a lot of fun. He's kind of him as a personality. I mean, I don't know, he grows on you, but like I know initially people are like, oh, he's just a dumb content creator kid. Like, no, like he's not.
No, and he's not afraid of shit.
No, he genuinely is reckless, and it is crazy. But yeah, no, we did. I mean, pretty much all he did to McCamey Manor what nobody else for years had been able to ever do, and he does that. He's infiltrated different cults. He went after the Church of Scientology at one
Yep.
point.
And that's
I mean,
huge.
huge. And so, I mean, definitely go check out Reckless Ben and go check out his new Lego series. Because there's more to come, and it's ongoing. He's still in Mexico as we speak.
I'm gonna watch that. I can't wait to watch that now.
Yeah, it's really good. So, I don't know. I had, of course, had to talk about it. Let's get more eyes on it. Show our support for people. I mean, he's taken down all these people. He is like, it's just crazy. You have to watch it. I can't do it justice. The shit that he does. You got to go check it out. But yeah, so that was like the highlight of my whole weekend.
I saw The Bride came out this week on streaming. Maybe it was Peacock or some Paramount Plus or something. But I'm gonna watch that. And then Send Help came out as well.
Yeah, I've been wanting to sit down and watch that one too.
I think that's on Prime though, and I can't do that. But that's the one like I don't have.
It's on Hulu.
Oh, I don't have that either.
You gotta get you some Hulu. You gotta go get you a Hulu card.
Can you do that?
Probably.
I want a Prime card too because I need to watch The Boys, the final season.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I don't know how it works that way, but
yeah, I don't know either. I just know Netflix and like Disney Plus I can do that with, but I don't know about the other ones.
Why don't you just get like a prepaid card, put like $100 on it up front?
Because it won't work with those.
Really?
Yep, they don't work on shit anymore.
That sucks.
Like half the websites you go to order stuff, you can't use it. I've wasted so much money doing that.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because like everything I want, it'll be like, oh, something happened. I'm like, and you can't use those prepaid cards because they want you to get the subscription and they can't take that out every month.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Well, anyway, YouTube's free, so go check out Reckless Ben. And,
yeah, for sure.
Then we'll talk about it more next week. Yeah, super
Actually,
exciting.
I gotta write that down so I don't forget. Because like my memory's so bad, I'll forget.
I should have texted you about it, but I was just so excited. I sat down, me and my kid both, we sat down and watched. I mean, just totally, like, I have really bad ADHD. It's hard for me to watch anything, believe it or not. But I'm glued to the screen the entire time.
Oh, okay.
For part 1 and part 2. I'm like, I'm just, wasn't going anywhere. It's fine. Yeah, he just released his hour-long interrogation video, too, from where he was arrested. Yeah, he was arrested. So he gets arrested. He bails out. And then I guess the judge decided to change his mind on the bail.
What?
Yeah. And so now he's got a warrant out for his arrest.
Wow. I didn't even know that was like a thing.
And then I didn't either. And the type of like warrant that it is, whatever it is, the type of charges they are, like he has to spend a month in jail before he even gets his first court date.
What?
Yeah, it's fucked, dude. It's crazy. It's really insane. So I'm just saying, like I said, check that out. You guys will like it.
Heck yeah.
I think so. Anyway, I don't really have any news this week. I mean, except for, we got more UFO files, but it's still nothing crazy.
Have you seen the Scary Movie 6 popcorn buckets?
The bongs?
Yes.
So I did see that, and I see that there's lots of controversy. I can't say it going on right now about them.
Why? I mean, I can see why, but like, what are they saying?
Because they're bongs. I think they're not actually going to sell them. I think they're getting pulled from like select theaters or something.
Oh no, those things are going to be worth a mint price right there if you can get a hold of one.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Are they do you know if they're functional?
That I don't know.
Or if they're just plastic bong shaped.
I mean, I would assume they were just plastic bong shaped. But
I mean, you could smoke out of a plastic bong, but that's you don't normally want to. You'd melt it,
right.
That's why your 3-liter gravity bongs don't last more than a night or so.
I did have a couple newses though, just a couple short ones.
By all means.
Yeah. I guess there was a really bad storm in South Carolina this weekend, and there was I don't want to say bad storm, like very windy conditions, like horrible winds in South Carolina. There was a woman eating at a restaurant outside at the patio when one of the umbrellas came loose and struck her in the neck, and it severed her carotid artery and killed her right there at the scene.
What kind of fucking Final Destination shit is that?
Right?
Like, why is she outside having breakfast on the or food on the patio anyway during a storm?
Yeah, see that I mean I don't know how bad I'm like it would have to be bad because those umbrellas are heavy. So the wind would have to be bad, but then like you said, like why were they out there eating? Like I don't get it.
Like someone had it out for her.
Right.
Like this was planned by the waitress or something.
That's so horrible.
That sucks. Yeah, no, that genuinely is terrible.
And like so many people are going to be scarred because all those innocent people right there watching, probably families, little kids, and just blood spurting everywhere because a carotid artery got severed.
And everybody's just like, what the fuck? What the fuck happened? What happened? How'd this happen?
Right.
Because, I mean, I don't know, I suppose. So, okay, like the they're not that sharp.
No.
They're not supposed to be. That restaurant's going to get sued.
I believe it fully.
Because I mean, how is it even that sharp to begin with?
And why wasn't like... I don't know, like if it's like hurricane wind situation, you shouldn't have your people dining outside.
But you should go out there and be like, come on in now. It's like, like you do your kids. Time to come back in, a storm coming.
Like I've been at restaurants where like I've seen the waitresses have to like take them down or put them up because the weather's changing, and they're like hard to shit to like maneuver.
Yeah, right. No, they're heavy and big.
Yeah.
Usually they're attached to like a sand weighted bottom.
Yeah.
Like on into the ground. That's crazy. It'd be kind of a little less crazy if it was like, well, the wind was blowing hard and it blew a plate and the plate broke and the shard hit her in the neck. That would be a little more believable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are they eating out there at all?
I don't know. I just saw that and I'm like, you gotta be fucking shitting me right now.
I also
have to worry about that. I'm already behind a log truck every fucking day.
I also read that she had 3rd-degree burns because her soup was just flying all over the place out of the bowl.
Are you serious?
No, I didn't.
Oh my god, I thought you were serious. I'm like, you're fucking shitting me right now.
I just can't. I mean, what can you eat? That's
right.
That's staying on the plate in that kind of wind.
Right.
That picks up that umbrella and kills you.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. You know what it is?
What?
It was one of those fucking umbrella kaiju. Or yokai, I'm sorry.
Oh, I bet it was.
It was one of those umbrella yokai. It had to have been. There's no other reasonable explanation for this.
She pissed it off somehow.
Gosh. She disrespected it. That's gotta be what, I mean.
Oh yeah. There's no other way.
That's pretty wild, but I think we solved it.
Thank God we report on weird shit here.
Rest in peace, man. I kind of feel like an asshole for making light of it because it's just so crazy. But,
oh yeah,
but it's crazy. I mean, you just got to stop and recognize. I mean, she's got to be like dead now and be like, wow, that was really crazy.
Right? How do you even like she's the one that's gonna be a fucking ghost because she definitely had like issues that were unresolved before she left because she had no idea what was gonna happen.
She's like, they told me what happened, but I just don't believe that's what happened. Like that's not how that works.
Right. Like I got to the pearly gates and even they were confused.
Like
They
nobody
thought it was a
understands this.
typo.
Poor thing. Yeah, you're right. Now it's a fucking new feed. I'll never eat on a patio ever again.
Oh, Lord. Second news. This is just like, there's nothing to it. It was just, the headline was funny. Man accused of repeatedly calling 911 to report zombies, ghosts, and UFOs at his home.
Yep, I saw that. I saw that going
just
on.
a guy that just kept calling.
Well, and he also, I did read about it a little bit. The police showed up, and this was, of course, a West Virginian man.
Yes,
So
in the Tigard Valley.
So, like, initially it's like, oh, well, maybe he was seeing something because
Right.
It's West Virginia, but the police show up and he tells them that he's a lieutenant from Louisiana.
Yes, he did.
And he's not really a lieutenant in Louisiana.
He's just a crazy guy.
He's just a crazy guy. And, of course, everybody reports that there were no zombies or ghosts or UFOs or anything like that on his
nobody
property.
else saw him.
Yeah, that they saw. And I just think that that's a conspiracy that these creatures made to get this guy arrested.
Of course.
Because they just want to use his house to party or something. I don't know why they do these things, but
It's the Appalachia yokai.
it's the Appalachian yokai, yep. They're like, we're just going to take him to his house for the weekend. Let's get him in jail.
That would make so much sense if there was yokai in Appalachia. Like, so many of these stories, I'd be like, yep, probably real.
Yeah, that's a goofy one. I'm assuming he got let go. Nobody really knows why he did it.
It said that, like, he has a history of doing this.
Calling the police
Like,
first.
yeah, not like specifically UFOs and zombies and stuff, but like calls 911 for like no apparent reason and just like makes shit up all the time.
Yeah, misusing the
network
emergency system or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not enough people get held accountable for that, but it does happen quite a bit. People love to call the cops over anything, and it's really ridiculous. But
oh, for sure.
Yeah. So
like, why not? They're not doing anything better, right?
Right? Can you imagine being that bored?
Right. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Can you imagine being the cop that had to show up?
This person needs help with their groceries again. My God. And was that it? You had the two?
Yeah, that was it. I didn't have anything else. I saw a couple things, but like nothing's really like popping out this week. There was like a hint of a bunch of hikers on like the Pacific Trail in California in one area all like contracted the norovirus. Like 12 hikers in the middle of nowhere just all got the norovirus on this trail.
I feel like I kind of saw rumblings of that.
Yeah, but there's like nothing there, so I don't know. Yeah. It said was make sure you have good hygiene. Like, okay.
I feel like the story is that this is like a bit like an annual hike, and they have stops along the way where people provide like food and drink.
That's what I was thinking. Like, did they all eat at the same place or something?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, and then maybe that person who's not on the hike but an outsider, maybe they had it, and that's what happened. Like I said, I feel like I heard this, but I don't.
Because it says that virus can live on surfaces for like weeks and months. You know what I mean? So who knows?
Oh, yeah, it goes around and it's terrible. You don't want it.
John has it right now, my kid.
Oh yeah, no, it's not good.
He's like, he went to the doctor and they told him he had the norovirus, and he made this like Snapchat post. So I was like, oh my God, guys, I'm dying. Doctor said I have the noro and I'm listening to Taylor Swift, so I must be on my deathbed.
He would.
He's so dramatic. I love him so much.
Like a drama queen. Oh my God. And when he makes it through, there'll be a new drama.
Yep. Oh, of course. Last week it was his allergies. He wanted somebody to take him out because his allergies were so bad.
Oh. Well, if somebody would have done it, he wouldn't have gotten the norovirus.
Right.
So he's onto something. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Well, Interesting. Yeah,
Mhm.
there hasn't been lots of news lately, so
No, I'm surprised.
it'll start trickling in as the weather starts picking back
People
up
are gonna
and
be outside more, and their cameras are gonna
yeah,
be out, and shit's gonna happen.
out and about. Yeah, it'll be all right. So, but anyway, we have a fun story to get into this week. Kind of a very off the wall situation.
Yeah, I call it the solved unsolved mystery.
It is a solved unsolved mystery, because so this one you did actually bring up.
Yes.
You suggested. How did you come across this story?
So on my Facebook feed, all those like random things that pop up and you start reading them and then you get like so into it and you're just like thinking like, okay, please don't shut off. Please don't shut off. Cause you know how they like
Oh yeah,
go to blank screens sometimes, like when you're in the middle of something.
yeah.
And
Always
this
when
one
you're in
was
the
actually real. It was a legitimate link and I could read the whole story and it was a long, long story.
it is a
And
long story.
I
Yeah.
was like, this is freaking cool. And I sent it to you and you never heard of it. And so we were like, yeah, we're going to do this. But I was like, wow, you don't really hear about anything like this much. I was
I mean,
enthralled.
it's very interesting.
Yes.
And mostly it's impressive. The investigative work is on par there with Reckless Ben.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's very good.
Back in the day, it was.
And yeah, definitely back in the day. And nobody has a reason to really talk about this story anymore. It's so old.
Right. But I did go through the comments today on that link that I sent you months ago. And there was comments from last year. So people are still like reading about it.
Still getting into it, yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter, she was like, telling me I should watch a YouTube video on it. And I'm like, there's
Uh-huh.
nothing on it. There's not anything. And I did look it up, and sure enough, there is a YouTube video because there's really not a lot of resources. It all comes from one journalist,
Right.
mostly, and then somebody kind of rewrote the story, a little more concise on a Medium article,
Uh-huh.
and like that's the source. And you might find that Medium article posted somewhere, which of course they source back to the journalist's original work. He ended up writing a book about it and everything. And you can see, the articles that he had written about it, throughout. But that's it, really. I mean, that's it. There was, like I said, probably 3 videos in total that I saw, where people had actually, kind of covered it, but they all just kind of rehashed the same thing because it's pretty cut and dry, honestly, the whole thing.
Right.
But mysterious. So who is this journalist in question? Well, his name was Rick Baker. And Rick came across this really interesting case just kind of by doing his job
Yeah.
and journaling, but not the way that you might think. So Rick had received a notification in March of 1978 that he needed to write an obituary. And this was pretty standard practice for, being a journalist, right? You just get an obituary in and you write it up. And he, recounts how he just wasn't too excited about it. Nobody's really excited to write about somebody's death, especially somebody that you don't know. But this one was a very special case. And, in trying to figure out, because I've never written an obituary before.
Right.
I've never had to. I don't know who wrote my dad's, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you have to really, for the surviving family members, you got to really paint a good light in these obituaries. And
Right.
it did make me curious about like serial killer obituaries. I don't know if they get one.
Oh, that's a
And
good question.
I guess I kind of forgot about that question because I had kind of asked myself about it while reading this.
Okay, I'm
But I
gonna
got
write
so
that down, and we
absorbed.
will know next week.
But yeah, do they get one? Are they nice?
Mhm.
It's interesting. But anyway, back to the story. He is told he needs to write an obituary for a woman named Mary Doefour. And that she had died March 2nd and of a heart attack. And that's it. That's all anybody knew about her.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
thought that maybe she was 70 or 80 years old. They didn't even know how old she was.
Right.
Because of the circumstances of her kind of getting into the state. She died in a nursing home, and she had kind of been a ward of the state most of her life. At least for the last 50 years she had been, and they didn't really know anything about her. And so this story is going to take some really interesting turns, I suppose. But that definitely talks about a bigger issue of just kind of how people can fall through the cracks. And then, of course, the type of treatment that people kind of had in general during, you know, 1920s up through probably about the 90s, where we were kind of inhumanely treating people, or medically treating them incorrectly. And yeah, so it's gonna get interesting.
Yeah, this case makes me so mad with the just like, I don't know,
Say
can't say anything yet. Like, just how close everything was, and the neglect that went into the cops, like, searching.
Yeah, it was. They really just did not want to do their job.
Right.
They just didn't. But anyway, so who is Mary Doefour? Again, Rick Baker, wanted to answer that question. He had to come up with something. He couldn't write an obituary that was like, her name's Mary Doefour and she died March 2nd, 1978. Like, you can't. Like, there's got to be more to it than that, right? Surely she spent time at minimum with the nursing home people.
Right.
And so he goes down to the nursing home, and he's trying to kind of figure out who she is and what her deal is. And that's when he discovered her name's not even Mary Doefour. They don't know what her name is. They have no
Nope.
clue. She came in as an anonymous person, and Mary is just kind of it's like a Jane Doe name. It comes from that.
Yep.
Mary's just a general name they give to these people.
So
Doe,
Mary was actually the like head nurse for booking at the first hospital she was in. So when people came in that were not that nobody knew anything about them, their first names, if it was a woman, was all Mary. So it was Mary Doe. And that's why they had numbers after it.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. So yeah, so she's Mary Doe, but she's Mary Doe number 4.
Mm-hmm.
There's Mary Doe 1, Mary Doe 2, Doe 3, and Doe 4,
I
and
think
Doe 5.
there was 16 Mary Does
Wow.
in that hospital that they had
Wow.
at the time.
And this is just, this is the story of one of them. And the only reason why this story exists at all is because of a journalist who got curious.
Mm-hmm.
And really, that is what it comes down to. So what he found out about Mary Doefour at that time is that she was found on the side of the road in Illinois sometime in the 1920s or the 1930s. And she had no recollection of who she was. She had no clue. She was found beaten and bloodied. She was naked. She was raped. And she was just a really hot mess.
She was
The
pregnant.
police. She was pregnant. Yep, she was pregnant at the time.
Due to the rape.
Maybe not due to the rape.
I don't know. That's what it said.
Maybe not. We don't.
That's
know.
what Rick stated.
We'll get into it. Yeah,
Right.
there's some theories. But she was definitely pregnant. That was for sure. She may have been in her early 20s. I didn't write down a physical description of her, even though they go over it like 1,000 times. I don't know. I just didn't think it was necessary.
Okay. She was very attractive young woman, light brown hair, blue eyes,
Right.
had a cleft chin,
Yeah,
tight
very pretty.
cheekbones. She was pretty. She was very
Yeah.
pretty.
She was pretty. But they didn't really know what to do with her. So they take her, and we don't really know exactly where she went initially, but there's maybe some speculation of where she may have gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a hospital that by the time Baker starts getting into it, it no longer exists. But she ultimately is kept there because they don't really know what to do with her. She does have her baby, and the baby is immediately taken from her. Like, she didn't even know the gender of this baby before it was taken from her and then gone into the ether. So
Poor lady.
that's kind of rude,
Yeah.
you know.
Especially since she wasn't criminally insane.
She was right. She was not criminally insane. Um, she was placed in a facility for the criminally insane, though.
Mm-hmm.
And, she kept trying to tell these people, I'm not insane. I just don't know who I am. And I just don't remember. I don't remember where I came from. I don't really know anything. And she was eventually transferred over to the Bartonville State Hospital, and she spent a lot of her days there. But during all of her time between these facilities, she wasn't treated well.
No.
Not in the slightest.
Bartonville was, she stayed there for 10 years, I think. Was that
She
the
was
first one?
No, Bartonville, she was there until she started going to nursing homes.
Oh, so Bartonville, she was there for 30 years.
Yeah, she was there longer. It seems like before Bartonville, there's not a lot of facts about where she was at that point.
Yeah, there was one before that she was at for 10 years.
Yeah. And so it was, but I think that one shut down. I didn't put the name of it. Bartonville
Right.
also did shut down too. A
Mhm.
lot of these places did during that time period, because honestly, there was a lot of shifts and kind of, as we got closer and closer to the modern day, like I said, probably more the 90s, we started treating people with mental illnesses a little bit better.
It was Manteno she was at.
Sure. Manteno.
Yeah.
We'll say that. It was Manteno.
That's where they started her electric shock treatments, and they were giving her medicine for Parkinson's disease, which made her have this uncontrollable shake. She didn't have Parkinson's disease.
They were giving her all kinds of shit because she
Yeah.
wouldn't shut the fuck up about being, released
Right.
or treated or, they
She didn't
just
remember anything, but she knew she wasn't fucking insane.
right. She couldn't remember who she was, but she knew that she didn't belong where she was at.
The only
And
thing she remembered was that she was a school teacher.
she did. Yep, she did eventually remember that she was a school teacher. She remembered that she taught elementary school, and she's pretty sure not just elementary school, but first grade.
Yes.
And she knew that much. She knew she worked with children and, was pretty insistent on that. So, but they don't care to hear any of it. They're just like, whatever, bitch, you're crazy. Here's more pills. They would try to make her as docile as they could. So they would sedate her a ton.
Which I don't know, like, how does that, like, do people that work in the hospital just as, like, nurses or whatever, do they know anything about the patients, or is that pretty much just, like, the admitting, like, facility that knows the background?
I don't know. I mean, I would think that they would all talk.
Right.
That's kind of one of those things. They all kind of word gets around and things new. When I was in the hospital, one of my friends worked in the maternity ward of the same hospital that I was at.
Okay.
And she came and visited me. And at that point, I hadn't publicly disclosed that I was, admitted into the hospital. So, I mean, they know things,
Everybody was just like, there's a chick with fiery red hair here. She's funny as hell. And you're like, oh, that's my friend. I got to go see her.
She won't shut the fuck up about about Mothman. And they're like, she's like, oh, yeah, I know who that is. No, well, and then like my crazy ex-boyfriend who killed his girlfriend, who's in prison, and that's ongoing. I don't think I've admitted that on the show yet. Maybe I have.
Yeah, you have once.
Did I? Okay. I didn't go into detail, but yeah.
No.
Anyway, so the hospital that he was at, somebody else that I knew messaged me because she's a nurse there and knew he was there.
Okay.
Even though she wasn't working in that area, she was actually super nervous because she was scheduled to be in that area on a certain day, and she didn't want to see him because she knew him.
Oh.
And yeah, and so it became like a thing. But he ended up being discharged before she got there. So
okay.
Yeah, because he was like found. I mean, they literally ripped the whole front of the house off of his house. He was in like a fucking 10-hour SWAT standoff. It was insane. I'll tell you guys about that one day. We'll talk about it. And he was found like underneath all this rubble, and he was found underneath 3 safes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like he was fucked all the way up. But don't kill people, and you'll be fine. So anyway, I don't know. I'm just saying, probably maybe not official information, but they definitely talk to each other.
Okay.
So anyway, but like we were talking about, she was heavily sedated constantly, and when that wasn't working, because she was very insistent about being who she was, then they would treat her to the old electroshock therapy, which we've talked about a little bit on the show, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they would hit her hard with them zaps, man.
Yeah, frequently.
And there was no give. I mean, they would do it until she was unconscious,
And then they'd throw her in the tub of cold water to revive her.
like they were fucking relentless with these, and that was what I mean. That's all they knew what to do with her, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Some people speculate that the electric shock therapy, which we do have a modern day version of, it does help with a lot of things, but they believe that. What's that?
No, thank you.
I'm good. No, it's people have had really great, like people with really bad depression have had really good success with it. It's one of those things, and you are awake during it, so that's quite the choice. But hey, it's better than being dead. So
Well, yeah, they shock me, and if that's my new treatment, I just be like, oh man, hallelujah, I'm not depressed anymore. Let me go home.
right, if that's all it takes, shit,
Right.
sign me up. But no, it is something that we do modern day, but this was not that back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
No.
This was terrible. And anyway, so they just continued this routine for many, many years. Eventually she does get transferred over. I believe this was where Bartonville comes into play, where she did have a room, but she had a room with no toilets.
Yeah.
And so you would have to. So they had one nurse assigned to 150 patients.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to go to the bathroom, you had to tell them, "Hey, I gotta go to the bathroom," and you had to wait for them to take you and escort you to and from the bathroom. And so there's a story about how she defecated on the floor at one point. My thought, though, is that she probably did that a lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, it does not have anything to do with being fucking criminally insane. There's just, they don't treat you like a human.
You got to shit, man. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? Exactly. I mean, that's just kind of what that is. You ever not let your dog out when it's got to go out?
Right.
It's gonna shit somewhere.
And it's not like, I don't know, how do you want to put this? Like, it was probably to the point where, like, the nurses had to clean it up so much anyways. They were just like, just go ahead and fucking do it. I'm not taking you to the bathroom. You're going to do it anyways. One of you is.
Right. She's not the only one doing it.
Right.
Is the other thing is that you got all these other people, even if they are criminally insane, that's inhumane.
Yeah.
A toilet is a basic necessity. You would think.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is.
But even though she had that memory of I was saying the electric shock therapy and the drugs that they were giving her might have hindered her ever being able to really regain her memory back.
Yeah.
Is what the belief is now. Now we don't know, I don't know what methods or if they even had methods at the time to try to help her regain her memory, but they weren't treating her like a victim. They were treating her like a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's kind of what this comes down to at the end of the day. If she wasn't treated poorly, maybe she could have remembered who she was and what happened. But because, she was not treated that way. She wasn't treated like a victim. She never got that justice. At minimum, that's what we know. Something horrible happened to this woman. And she never got justice for whatever that thing is.
Right.
Instead, she got treated like an animal. And it's sick. So, Baker obviously being rocked by this whole story. He writes up a whole 14-page article, editorial about this woman and what he had learned, what he had come to find out about her. And he published it in hopes that somebody somewhere knew who she was and she could finally be at some type of peace and be laid to rest proper.
Yeah, like this was his first article, correct? When he just found out.
His first article about her.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So he wanted to make sure it got out as soon as it could, so she wouldn't have a pauper's funeral by the state. She wanted somebody to like claim her as being in their family so she could get an actual like headstone and everything.
So she could be a person. At this point, she's
Right.
not even a person. She's literally a number.
Mm-hmm.
She's number 4. Right. So, he puts it out there and he gets no hits, no responses, no anything. But he goes on to move on to a bigger, better publication. He starts writing for the Peoria Star. And this was, again, a big publication. It reached about 100,000 people, so it had a good reach. We don't even have that kind of reach here.
Right.
And we do good. We do all right. But yeah, and so he didn't actually make the decision to publish this in the Peoria Star. His boss did. His boss, was so enthralled by the story that he said, hey, why don't you get to the bottom of this? That would be really cool. If you could do some investigative journalism and you can find out who this woman is, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, okay. I mean, I don't think I will, but all right. And so he does. So he kind of republishes the story with kind of a call to action. Who knows this woman?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to know this woman. And, he really hones in on the very, on the first days where she was found. What happened to her? Where did she come from? And, sorry, I had to wet my whistle. I was talking for a while. And, he puts it out there and other publications pick up the story. And, back in the day, you didn't have social media, but basically with what the equivalent was, it's like they shared it to their pages.
Okay.
So they're sharing it around to their pages, to their own publications. And it's getting some really good reach within the Midwest. And he did ultimately, he got he got 3 letters in total in regard to this story. The first 2 were a bust. The very first one was just a woman who wrote in saying that she just felt terrible for the woman and, she hopes that it gets solved.
Right.
The second one was somebody that wrote in and said, oh man, I just wish I could have liked that story more, but it was just printed so badly on the paper.
Yeah, asshole.
And those people still exist to this day, unfortunately.
Sorry.
We get it sometimes, with the, oh, your audio. Oh my God, your ads. You got too many ads or whatever. Oh, if you don't want ads, go to the Patreon.
Right.
$2 a month for ad-free episodes. You don't even have to get all the fluff. So I'm just saying. Patreon.com/WednesdaysTalk. So anyway, let's drop the ads right here, right now. I'm just kidding. I don't know where they're gonna drop. I'm not the one that does that.
Me neither. Don't yell at me.
But he does eventually receive the third lead, which would be a big break in the case. And it was from a woman who used to be a school teacher in Mount Vernon, Iowa. And she said, hey, there was this case of a school teacher that went missing around the 1930s. And her name was, she believed it was Alice Zeiser.
Yeah.
But with a Z.
Mm-hmm.
And that the rumor was she had got on a train and then she just vanished. She was never heard from again. And he's like, So he calls up the woman. He tries to dig and get some more information from her, but she really doesn't know anything else.
Yeah, it basically tells him everything that I told you is the only thing that I can remember.
Right. And that was 50 fucking years ago. I'm tired. I'm on my deathbed myself. I have no idea.
Right.
But he takes it and he runs with it. And so he decides he calls a local elementary school in Mount Vernon, Iowa. And he speaks with the secretary there. And he's like, hey, does anybody know of a story of a woman that went missing, a teacher that went missing about 50 years ago? And she's just like, I don't know, dude.
That was
like
15 years ago. You said it yourself.
Right, I wasn't here.
24.
Fuck, I just got this job 3 weeks ago. Yeah, she had no clue, but she's like, I'll ask around. If I hear anything, I'll call you back. Well, much to his surprise, a few days later, she calls him back. And she says, you know what? There actually is a rumor about that. Where this school teacher. But her name wasn't Alice Zeiser. It's Alice Sizer. And he's like, oh. And not just that, I may have a contact for somebody that you could reach out to, an acquaintance of hers.
Okay.
And he's like,
getting somewhere.
right, okay, great, wonderful. So she gives him the phone number to a man named Harry.
Yes.
And Baker calls up Harry, and he says Harry was very standoffish, and will be the entire rest of the story. Really want no part of any of this. He's an older man in his 70s, and he's just not really interested. But he tells him the whole story about Mary. He tells about this potential lead. He asks about this Alice woman. And Harry's like, well, yeah, there was a school teacher that went missing in 1926, but her name wasn't Alice Sizer. It was Anna Sizer. And she was murdered in 1926, so it's definitely not her because she's dead. And Baker's like, well, how do you know this? Was it confirmed that she was murdered, or is there like a police report I can find? He said, no, but I know this because my last name is Sizer, and I'm her brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, okay, that's a pretty big deal. So don't you want to help me kind of follow up on this and get to the bottom of it? He's like, nope, absolutely not. Don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And that kind of becomes the end of that. But Baker does not give up entirely. He scopes out the local newspaper archives. He looks through thousands and thousands of microfiche and looks up this story of this missing woman, and he kind of gets a couple more leads from there, but nothing too crazy. He does find out this woman went missing. There was a massive search for her, kind of repeatedly for a while there. There was this massive search for her, and she never turned up. What he had found out was that one of her friends, Anna's friends, had seen her getting off of a train in a town called Marion.
Mm-hmm.
And what they knew was that she was headed to Marion to see a doctor because she hadn't been feeling very well. And that's it. That's all they knew. She hadn't been feeling very well since the start of the school year and was trying to get herself treated. There was also an article, though, that he found that was really interesting where two Cornell students, and she was a teacher, but she was working through college to get her degree at Cornell. And there were two students there who were like super serious about finding her. Like, they would organize search parties, and like it was a super big deal. Like, they wanted to find her. Obviously,
yeah, they made it their mission to like find her.
Yeah, and the article had mentioned that they had been receiving threatening letters and calls to stop looking for her.
Yeah.
And they actually they persisted. They were like, well, fuck that. We're still going to look for her.
Mm-hmm.
And continued. But the president of Cornell told them to stop. So they did. At that point, they did.
I mean, you can't really go against it if they're going to throw you out of college or something.
It's very weird. It's very weird. So I mean, these are the facts. These are, kind of what we're finding. The police did find a person of interest. His name was George something. It doesn't matter, but they had told that person had told police that Anna was pregnant when she disappeared. So that's why she probably wasn't pregnant due to the rape, but maybe.
Okay.
Because the timeline gets a little skewed, and we'll go over that.
Well,
but
the timeline in the whole thing, the records, everything is all skewed.
Yeah, it's all fucked up because there's really some discrepancy about when she was found. And that's kind of where the issue comes into play, is because we don't know for sure when she was found.
Right.
We just know when the first record of her appears in medical records. But then again, if she was at places that no longer exist, maybe those records don't exist. Who knows?
Right.
So, anyway, again, there was this article, that was the lead. She was pregnant. He had actually offered to marry her, and she was like, "Nah, I'm good." Even though he claims he was not the father of the child, he didn't know who was, and she didn't know who was either. She said, and those are the facts. That's what we know.
Yeah, not a lot to go on.
Not a lot. Now, Baker had read other articles about different sightings of her in different areas, and he kind of mapped all this out a little bit. And the way that she was moving, she was definitely heading east. So east from Iowa, you could certainly go to Illinois.
Right.
You know, she was far from home, but she wasn't impossibly far from home. There was a story about like a hotel or like a motel worker who said that, you know, she may have been spotted with some guy who was saying he needed to rent a room for a woman who was very sick, but that was kind of the extent of it. I believe a police officer, he came forward, he saw her walking down the side of the road.
Yeah, and he did nothing about it until he found out about this missing school teacher. But that blows my mind too. Like the police, it was a motorcycle policeman, and he said, like, I saw this lady walking on the side of the highway that looked dazed and confused, and I didn't think much of it, so I kept going.
Yeah,
Fuck you, dude.
And everybody that had spotted her had said that she looked out of it.
Yeah.
You know, but nobody really stopped her. Or maybe they did, and we don't know. Maybe some people gave her a ride short term. Who knows? We don't know. You know.
Because this all, like, seemed to go down between Cedar Rapids and Chicago.
And it seems to have also gone down between 1926 and 1932.
Yes.
Potentially. You know, because again, we don't really know when she was found. But she definitely went missing in 1932. Or I'm sorry, 1926.
26, yeah.
So, you know, Baker has some theories of his own that he has, you know, about what may have happened to her and how she ended up as Mary Doefour. You know, we'll kind of talk about those theories a little bit. Let's get into them now.
Yeah.
He thinks that there is a potential that she went to go have an abortion. A lot of people at the time thought this.
Yes.
That she went to go have an abortion. So you didn't just make this up. She went to go have an abortion, and there was an abortion clinic, you know, at this town that she was going to. This man that was doing illegal abortions.
Yeah, illegal abortions.
And we know that he was doing these because he had done botched abortions for other women, especially in one case where a woman died of sepsis because of the botched abortion. Which could have been what happened to Mary.
And why she was so confused and out of it.
Right. So she could have had a botched abortion. She leaves. She goes down the road. Maybe that trauma kind of kicked off her brain, kind of erasing the whole thing. I can't imagine what abortions would have been like in 1926.
But I can't imagine how she would have survived sepsis in a mental insane asylum. Like, that's just dirty.
Well, she may not have gotten sepsis, and we don't really know.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
You know, we don't have the full details about what her true state was. We only know, like, the stories that she was found beaten and raped and whatever.
Right.
But we don't know really on record how she was found. It's just that's word of mouth. That's what everybody had said at that point. But we don't have like this woman was brought in. Here it is on paper. Here's her analysis. She could have had sepsis.
Right.
And they treated her for it.
I don't see that happening though.
But again, this is one of the theories.
Right.
You know. So, you know, she could have done that, and she could have been disoriented and confused. And like I said, that could have been where the trauma started, because I'm sure an abortion at the time is very painful and horrible.
Oh yeah, God.
Yeah, and you know, and you're awake for the whole thing, I'm sure. You know, or you're given shitty drugs, you know, and the doctor then releases her out into the wild, and she doesn't know who she is, where she is, whatever. Maybe she then gets caught by the wrong people who take advantage of her because she's drugged up, you know, raped and beat her.
Right.
We don't know. Another theory is that potentially, she had been kept captive for many years. Maybe she did go and she successfully got an abortion, and then she went and was kidnapped also that same day, and then kept
Mhm.
captive and raped and brutalized and was impregnated. And when she was impregnated, that's when the captor decided to release her
Okay.
years later. We don't know. We don't know. So, I mean, those are definitely some of the theories. We know that Anna Sizer's body was never found.
Correct.
It was unsolved, and the family had kind of resolved the idea that, in their head, that she's dead somewhere. We don't know where she's dead. So, during his time looking at the microfiche, he had come across a picture of Anna and was like, I need to take this picture and I need to go show it to the people at the hospital.
Yes.
Like, is this the same woman? Of course, it's a 50-year difference, but you retain your features.
Mhm.
But he couldn't print it out. That wasn't something that you could do at the time at the local library, and there was no way for him to obtain a copy of this picture. So he's like, what can I do?
It was like a special machine they needed, it said. Or was that special machine just a printer because it was so old? Like, I don't understand. I don't know how to
Probably.
do like microfiche.
Yeah, microfiche is interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it probably was an equipment issue at the time. Again, this is 70s into the 80s. Like, this is
Right.
78, maybe
8
79. I don't
years
really.
ago.
What's that?
48 years ago.
Yeah, quite a stretch.
Mhm.
But anyway, so he goes, I know, I have a great idea. I'm gonna go visit Harry. And he does. He pays Harry a visit, and Harry is obviously very upset to see him there.
Yes.
He wanted no part of any of this. And he's like, look, I need a picture of Anna so that I can take it to these people at the hospital, because I think that your sister is sitting at a fucking funeral home somewhere. And I'd love for you to be able to take the remains back. And he's like, that's not my sister. She's dead. My sister's dead. You're not understanding. But he agreed to give him a picture anyway.
Yeah.
Ultimately, he did do that, and that's a good thing that he did.
Good
And
for
so
him.
he takes this picture and he takes it to the hospital, and they're like, is this the same woman? And they're like, you know what? I think so. I think so. And they did have a picture of Mary. She's older, but they didn't have a picture of her from when she was found, but they do have an older picture of her. And so, he's able, because he had never seen Mary.
Right. Because everybody kept telling him there was no photo.
Right. There's no photo.
But when
And,
he takes this one up, some nurse is just like, oh, yeah, let me grab the picture I have hidden in my desk drawer.
there's definitely a picture here somewhere.
Right.
And he says, my God, it looks like her. And he goes as far as to contacting an anthropologist.
Yeah. Like the OG anthropologist.
Yeah. And he's like, can you help me with this? And he's like, well, yeah, I definitely can. I need an x-ray of the woman, the dead woman's skull. And he's like, well, she had been cremated. Yeah, she was cremated. So that wasn't going to happen. But the anthropologist, he thought the story was fascinating. And he's like, well, you know what? Let me see the pictures. Let me take a look at them. And he does. He shows them both pictures. And while the anthropologist can't say yes or no for sure, his opinion is that yes, this is in fact the same woman. And there were certain features about her that were the same. They both had blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
They both had a cleft chin.
Yes.
They both had a vaccination scar on their shoulder.
Which that one's like, okay, this is the same fucking person.
This is the same person, right? Like, that's,
Mm-hmm.
And that with a cleft chin, not many people have a cleft chin.
Right.
And blue eyes. And the same scar,
Light brown hair.
150 miles away from each other.
Right. High cheekbones.
High cheekbones. Yeah. I mean, they just, all those features definitely matched. And again, they look different because she's 50 years older, but not too different. It's definitely, it's just the same person. So, he's like, well, how can we press this further? we need to get these remains back to the family. And he goes back to Harry and he's like, look, this is what I found out. They all say it's the same woman. And this anthropologist, he thinks it's the same woman. And look, here's the picture. You can look at it yourself. It's her. And we can pursue this further and get these remains back to you. And Harry was having none of it.
No,
Just-
and I get it.
I don't get it. Explain it to me.
So they went 50 years, like both the parents, the 4 other siblings, like everybody died. They put all their money into these detectives and trying to find their sister. And they already like came to like, they're already okay with her being murdered and dying. They've all dealt with it so far. But I think the fact that she was right there next door the whole time and nobody found her and she was living in these bad conditions, they don't want to admit to it. They would rather think that their sister was murdered 50 years ago.
They don't want that guilt.
Yes. When the family tried their hardest, I think, and did what they were supposed to do. The investigators didn't do their job.
They did not. Right. The police that 100% did not do their job at all with this. They just said, we don't know who she is. Send her to the fucking hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that. And she became a ward of the state. And never remembered anything about herself. Oh, she did, but nobody cared to listen. And nobody gave that information to the right folks, and it just never got out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
What if? Okay, what if? And the man's dead now. Harry, they're all dead. Rick Baker's dead. Harry's obviously dead. Again, this was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
What if Harry had something to do with it?
I don't know. Like, why would you say that? Like, what points you in that direction?
So, some of the things that Rick had found out about this pregnancy situation was that, the family didn't like that rumor because they were like, she wouldn't do that. Like, she would not become pregnant, and then she wouldn't go and abort, and, whatever. But what if she was impregnated by her brother?
I mean, I don't know. I never thought of this situation.
And then he tried to beat her to death. And she suffered a massive head injury because of it.
Okay.
He left her for dead. It was unsuccessful. And now here she is, 50 years later.
But there was also a remaining sister that didn't want any part of it either and wouldn't admit that was her sister for the same reasons.
Well, that's true. Rick did try to talk to her, and she really wouldn't even talk to him.
Like, she wasn't even named in any of this because she absolutely wanted no part of it.
Yeah, maybe. You might be right about that. I don't know. It just seems so weird to not want to...
Like, I would really hate to put that information out there about a brother impregnating his sister and then killing her if there's, like... you know what I mean?
You're right. Okay, you're right. Fair enough. I'm an asshole for that one. My bad.
Oh, no. It's just... I mean, I think that maybe if there wasn't another living sibling that also says the exact same things.
That's fair.
I honestly think they're just... would have so much guilt inside of them if she was right there in that hospital and they didn't do anything about it and they thought she was dead.
But it wouldn't have been their fault.
Well, no, but they're also in their 70s at this point and have heart conditions and everybody else is dead. Like,
they can't stand the excitement. What do you think happened here?
I wanted to believe the original fucked up story of her being raped and beaten and somebody picked her up and took her to the hospital. But I'm leaning more toward, after like reading everything like 5 times, that she had a botched abortion and they kind of dumped her there at the hospital. But she couldn't remember anything because of the side effects of what happened to her, since the traumatic experience of that probably fucked her up mentally.
But how? I mean, she was 150 miles away, and people had allegedly seen her. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm sure a lot of us remember the Gabby Petito case
Right.
and the big old search for Brian Laundrie, and people kept calling in sightings for him, even though he was dead.
But see, it also says that, okay, she would go from Iowa to Illinois every weekend, like on her week, like she would work and then go back to her hometown every weekend. She would take that train every weekend back home and take $10 out of her bank account every weekend. So they said that the day before, on the November 4th, she withdrew $10 from her bank account, got on that same train, and that's where she was spotted getting off the train. So I really have no fucking clue.
I mean, do you think? Well, first of all, do you think that Anna and Mary are the same person?
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
That I
too.
100% think that, in my opinion, yes.
Yeah, there's no reason to believe that she's not.
And I think that maybe they would have taken it a little more seriously with all the information that Baker pulled up, is if the anthropologist would have went on the record. But he couldn't go on the record because he was in John Wayne Gacy's case, identifying his victims that were under the house, and without the skeleton, like the skull, he did not want to go on record being in that much of the public eye at the moment and saying anything.
Yeah, this is like the guy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think he would have had a lot more like headway if he could have got him to go on the record, but just having a couple nurses and him saying that they're the same person, he needed somebody professional.
You know, I'd like to revisit John Wayne Gacy at one point.
Okay.
Because when me and Pat did it way back in the day, you know, it's kind of in the context of, you know, did he act alone?
Right.
And, you know, I feel like I didn't do my due diligence and research at that time, and just that episode, we found some shit. And once you really start digging into it, you're like, oh my God, he was part of like a big sex cult ring thing.
Right.
And it's really insane. I don't know. I think that'd be interesting. Anyway, you know, the story is very sad, but it sheds some major light. I mean, obviously I can't say we'd never treat somebody like this today, but we're not supposed to.
Right.
Right. We're supposed to take people with amnesia that show up, you know, very seriously. And I would like to think that our system nowadays handles those people with care. And I think for the most part they do. You know, I don't think that there is corruption. That's very obvious, you know, but as far as, you know, these people, I just don't think that really happens very often, where we just kind of sweep it under the rug and go, you know, never mind. Not like they did at that time.
That's what I don't like. That's the main part I don't get. Like, why wasn't she found if she was right there? And they know they found like a confused, dazed woman walking on the side of the road, and this teacher is missing.
Because they just didn't do shit about it. That was it. They just literally did nothing about it.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah. Well, and, you know, it was harder back then. Nowadays, we have DNA, and everybody's got their DNA in some type of database for the most part. Like, we'll find who you are.
Right, and that's why, like, the child is probably still alive today.
Yeah, you're probably right.
She was cremated before any of this happened. They have, like, no samples of anything from her. Yeah. And now, like, the brothers and sisters have all passed away. So they would literally need like samples from her great nieces and nephews or something of Anna Sizer's nephews and nieces, like, to be able to find the child to see if they were like, then they can find out that Mary and Anna were the same person or not.
Well, right. It still wouldn't necessarily mean she was the same person.
It would mean that child is in their family, though.
And it would mean that Anna did have a child, yeah.
Right.
And so she obviously had some type of life after she had disappeared, whatever that life was, you know. but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the same. I mean, the
If
conclusion
she
that
knew the story of being like adopted and her mother was in an insane asylum, that would mean they were the same person.
if she knew that, but she might
Right.
not. She herself might have been sent off to an orphanage, which they don't really have much of a backstory. Oh, here's a baby. We just got it off the
Right.
street, and dropped into some people's laps. We don't know. I don't know. She may not be
And that was the
alive.
last comment that was in the like the article, was somebody asking for one of the Sizer's relatives to like submit their DNA so to see
Yeah,
if they can find the baby before something happens to it,
yeah.
if it
Well,
already hasn't.
I mean, so, but again, when this whole story came out, at that time that Rick Baker was investigating it, the
Mhm.
baby may have been alive, but
Right.
in 2026, probably not. I mean, they'd be almost 100 years old.
Mm, yeah, I guess.
So, I mean, they were
This
born sometime between
like this last
1926
comment
and
was in 2025 though, so maybe that kid had kid. You know what I mean? I
she
don't
could
know.
right. The baby could have had kids. The
Mhm.
male or female baby, we don't even know. Could have had kids, and I mean, there could definitely be some checkered history there, and I mean, there could be a new lead that could potentially come out of this. So I don't know.
I wish it wasn't so botched from the get-go that the brother and sister didn't want to know. You know what I mean? Like there could have been answers.
Yeah, yeah. So my mom was adopted.
Mhm.
But she was able to connect with her biological brother when she was a teenager, who introduced her to her biological dad. But so she kind of got lucky there.
Right.
But her biological dad, he was adopted.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah. So we don't really know what his history was prior to that, like where
Okay.
he originally came from. So it's a very interesting, she's definitely like, she's got questions about her own lineage, of course.
Mhm.
And she'd be so mad to know I was talking about her on the show. She's such a private person. But you can only really go back so far in those records. Even her, she can only go so, because she's got her own questions about her own adoption, and there's just records that don't exist now.
Right.
We don't keep records of everything forever.
Right, and it said that in Bartonville, they since she was transferred to another hospital, Mary, that after 10 years they burn all the records.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, they're just. I mean, I literally, you can't save everything. Maybe back then it was a lot harder to save stuff than now because there wasn't computers to keep everything.
yeah.
But yeah,
No, you can't. I mean, now we live in a world where we can start documenting and saving that history like that. But yeah, back then you had to
right.
physically have papers.
And there's a building can't hold that many file cabins.
No, it's just the way it
'Cause there
is.
was
So
what it said Bartonville held like over 900,000 patients in its runtime.
one of my abductees, which some people don't like being called abductees, I guess contactee will say, because that's
Okay.
abductee can be like a slur. She doesn't know her origins because she knows what town she was born in, but it was literally swallowed up by a sinkhole,
Oh wow.
and all the records were physically destroyed by the
Holy
sinkhole. Yeah,
shit. That's a story right there.
yeah, yeah. It's really interesting. Yeah, she's passed now, but she had like implants and shit in her, and like pictures and shit of like the implants. It was crazy.
Damn.
It was a crazy story. Great woman though. She was super kind, super nice, super interesting. But she says that her mom was stopped by a spaceship when she was about 6 months old, and they took her. The aliens took the baby and brought her back a week later.
They're just like, she cries too much.
Yeah, we don't want this thing anymore. It keeps trying to suck on our boobs. We didn't even know we had those. But anyway, I mean, so crazier things have happened for sure, just in general in the world. This is an important story because, again, what about Mary 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 12 and who are those people? Who are they? They were people at some point.
Well, okay, so it said that even those records got botched and messed up because in the initial one, Mary Doefour was a black woman on her index card event. Like they burned everything except like one index card with like basic information on it. So it said that Mary Doefour was a black woman, which she wasn't. When she died, she was white. But some of the information on Mary Doe 5 matched the Mary Doefour that we are talking about, but she got released in 1941, so it obviously wasn't her. So all the documents are screwed up from the beginning.
But did she know who she was when she was released?
I don't know.
Right. I mean, they just let her go into the wild. Like,
And
okay,
if that's the case, why didn't they let Mary Doefour go?
that's what I'm saying. Like, who are these fucking people?
Right.
You know, and now it's just, I'm very curious about it. But, you know, the rabbit hole's deeper than that. This is just one state,
Right.
you know, that we're talking about. And they had them in every, they have them in every state. It happens. These people, something happens to them, whether it be mental illness or medically induced or trauma, we don't know. But there's so many mystery people out there that just end up not being anybody. But you know what? These cases do get solved. You guys remember the boy in the box?
Yeah.
His got solved eventually with modern day DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, so it does happen. These cases do kind of resurface, and you just get these weird little weirdos that are probably, I would bet you anything, Rick Baker was on the spectrum somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And this became his obsession, and he, it just became a passion project.
Well, it's just like us right now. He was so close and he wanted to know and then got shot down. Like, I want to know.
Yeah.
I want this lady to, like, be known because she was forgotten her whole life. Like,
Whole life. Yep.
it's just so sad.
It is very sad, and it's, it comes down to, again, at the end of the day, she was not officially tied to Anna Sizer.
Right.
We can all have opinions about what we think, and I think that the opinions sway a very specific way with the evidence. But she was not. She was Mary Doefour, and she was buried in a pauper's grave with Mary Doefour as her headstone.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go visit it, I think, probably. It never got resolved. It never did. And I get it. I understand Rick's obsession kind of with it. Not to say he was losing sleep over it or anything, but
he probably was eventually.
He's like, God damn it, I'll never know. I'll never know for sure. It might have, it might have eaten him alive, but I mean, when you kind of get to the end and you kind of find out the mystery, it's very rewarding. And what you do for those people, I could tell you firsthand, it's amazing. There's just no feeling like it. I talked about that with the Jack Overby stuff, and I don't know how much of the intimate part of the conversation I may have shared with the show, but I was talking with Tobias about it and telling him just how crazy it was, because nobody knew who this guy was or why his grave talked about aliens or anything until we brought that story to light. And now when you Google him, there's his story, and not just his story. There was another post that really, it made me emotional because it was a local cat rescue, and they were like, oh, Jackson, he's all over social media, and we just wanted to point out that we know him for his kindness and what he did for this community and all these rescues, cats that he rescued, and it was so silly, awesome. But it was awesome, because people, I mean, otherwise he was just a dead guy.
Right.
He was just another number, but now he has a legacy, and we helped create that. And it's an amazing feeling. I don't know. It's crazy. I cried about it.
Oh, I believe you. For sure.
It was a happy cry, but I was like, oh my God, we did that. That's crazy. I might not ever discover aliens, but man, I made something out of this man's life, and that's
Right.
it's a powerful feeling. And so again, I get it from Rick's standpoint because he was very convinced that this was her.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, he writes a whole book about it. It's probably so much more information in there that we just can't. We don't have the time to get into. And that you can go view his original articles and everything about the story. It's out there. It's online. I think he didn't need any more proof himself. I just think he wanted to see it through and see the justice. But when they're dead, again, as someone that created a legacy for somebody after they were dead, you do still have that bittersweet part. Like, damn, I wish Jack could have seen this.
Yeah, but he was also like realized he was causing more pain for the family that was still living.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where I'm kind of torn. Like, I get it, and he wanted to stop because the people that were still living didn't want to bring it back up, but that's not the person you're like working for. You know what I mean? Like, you're
Yeah.
putting all your emotions and hard work into this dead person because you want to give her a name. But yeah, I'm torn like on so many different levels with this story, on so many different points on it. Like, I don't know how to feel.
The family would have had to have wanted to claim her,
Right.
as that's our sister. So, I mean, it starts that we didn't have, even at the time, even with all the evidence given, that to me it clearly points to this being the same woman.
Mhm.
We didn't have the rock solid proof. So it was really just off a hunch. We didn't have things like DNA at the time to prove
Right.
that it was her. We didn't have the proper technology for that to have happened. But I think Rick would be super excited to hear, here in 2026, even though he's now dead, that we're covering it on a podcast,
Right.
to get it out there for people. I mean, individual people, they matter, damn it.
Mhm.
People matter. And I know we forget that a lot because, gosh, just on your drive to work, how many fucking people do you see? And
A
then how
lot.
many people do you see there? Right. And you don't know any of these people and you don't know any of their stories. And why should you care about them? But the fact is that they're a person like you
Mhm.
with a whole story and a whole life and a whole potential legacy to leave behind. And, Mary Doefour, even though she had 50 years of fucking misery, over 50 years of misery,
Yeah.
she has something that a lot of people can't say they will have because a lot of us are just going to die and not have any legacy.
Right.
We're just going to be forgotten about, and not Mary, not Anna, right? She's got a story, and that's super fascinating.
And even somehow, if these are two different people, now they both have stories.
Now they both have stories, right? Now they both have their own stories,
Right.
and I think that that's really neat.
Mhm.
I love that. So I'm happy to give her a place here on Wednesdays We Talk Weird. I'm sure she never would have in a million years thought she'd be on this type of podcast. Um,
Probably not.
either of them, but here you are. It's interesting. I don't know. I thought this was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I don't
Couldn't
know.
wait for this one.
Do you guys want to hear more amnesia stories? There's plenty of them. I had thought about that, and I'd said that when we had started this episode. I was worried the show would be too short, but here we are,
Yeah.
right on clock, right
Hour
on
and a
time.
half in with no news. I mean, it's pretty much the whole thing has been the story.
We're doing pretty good, But there's plenty of other cases of amnesia,
Mhm.
where, and I'm sure they're interesting. I don't have any right now, but
No.
we can find some. Is that something that you guys want to hear about? I don't know. Let us know.
It's different from what we usually do, like 100%.
But it's weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Rest in peace to all those involved. They're all dead now. But now they all have a story.
Mhm.
And now it's something that you, listener, and you can share with other people.
Yeah, get it out there.
Go tell your coworkers, tell your grandma, tell your
Especially if you're in the Iowa, Illinois area.
yeah, spread it around, let people know about it.
That's the
Go.
proof, man.
Don't even share the show. Go share the Medium post, or
Yeah.
I don't. The book's probably out of print. I don't even know if you can get it now. I'll try to find it. I'll put it on the. I'll post a
We
link.
should can you put the pictures like on the show notes?
No.
No?
Oh yeah, I mean I could link to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't like put the pictures in the notes. But yeah, I can
Right,
link to 'em.
right,
Yeah,
right.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, share it around to people. Let people know about it. Maybe something eventually cracks this case open, and
One
maybe we
day.
could create another legacy here on the show. That'd be crazy. That'd be
We're just
crazy.
creating legacies over here, and you can be a part of it.
My God, I know you could be. It's literally history, y'all. Like it's a big deal. You would feel so good about yourself if you're the person that breaks open this case. I'm telling you.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
any final thoughts on Mary Doefour or Anna Sizer or Rick Baker or Harry or any of them? Anything?
I mean, not really any final thoughts. I feel bad for everybody. Nobody got closure in this whole case.
No. No, this is a case of closure comes from within.
Right.
And I hate that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, at least we're all here together.
Right.
But I feel in my heart of hearts I think this is solved.
I do, and that's why I say solved, unsolved mystery. I'm pretty sure it's the same person.
Yeah. Unofficially solved. So,
Too many weird coincidences.
I don't know. But yeah. So, well, before I end it, I want to remind you guys again about the Patreon, and I know I keep harping on it. But it's because we have our monthly meetup this week.
Yes, we do.
And you
We're
guys
gonna
can
be
come
there.
talk to us. Yeah, you can talk to we'll talk to you. Or we'll just talk to each other, whatever you want to do. But you can come and discuss theories. We can talk about the episodes. We can talk about anything you want.
Yeah. And I have 2 drawings to give away. I mean, one's from last month's series, and it's I will tell you it's about the Northfield Pigman.
Nice.
And then I have an amazing yokai one for this month.
Oh my gosh. I haven't seen either yet, so I'm excited. So two giveaways. Again, you got to be a part of that $5 tier. Less than a cup of coffee, as much as a gallon of gas.
Yeah, we're trying to get this thing going with a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah.
We really just need your guys' input on what you want.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's all it is. Just talk to us. Tell us.
We're committed now. Like, we're actually working on it and like doing the thing.
It's been going good. It's been going fun.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let us know. But come to the meeting and let us know. If as long as you get entered into, as long as you pay for your $5 tier before we do the meetup, which is going to be 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, the 28th.
This Thursday, tomorrow.
Oh
If
yeah,
you're
that's right.
listening
Tomorrow.
to the show on Wednesday.
That's right. You guys will be able to enter in for a chance to win one of 2 drawings, or maybe both. I don't pick the winner. We use a random wheel.
Yeah, the last 2, the spinner hit the same person, so he got
Yep.
2 in a row.
Yep. He might get 4 in a row. I mean,
Right.
but you guys got to level out them odds and come join. So, just saying. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, we'll see you back here next Wednesday.
Bye.